In the vast mansion of Chief Adekunle, wealth gleamed from every chandelier and polished tile. Within its compound, in a modest bungalow at the back, lived Duro, the head butler, and his wife, Yemisi. Duro had given 2 decades of loyal service. Yet, every time he polished the chief's shoes or arranged the mahogany dining table, bitterness crept into his heart. Why must my children be born to serve? Why theirs are born to inherit? This is the question that lingered in his heart which he had no answer to. That night, the rain came heavy, sheet pounding the roof as if the sky itself was warning of what was to come. Mrs. Water broke in a rush that soaked her wrapper and sent her clutching her belly. "Duro!" she screamed, voice real. He bolted from the kitchen, keys in hand, already thinking of the hot pujo they used for errands. But before he could help her into the car, the kitchen door burst open. "Mr. Duro!" It was Kemi, the maid. Her eyes were wide, wet. Madam is in pain. Her water broke too, and her husband is not back from his business trip." Duro's heart stuttered. 2 women, 2 births, and only 1 car? He looked back at Yemisi, sweat splashing her head to her skull. Then up at the mansion, where his madam's cries pierced the rain. He had no choice. The maid together with him moved Yemisi into the back seat, then drove hurriedly into the main compound to retrieve Madam Tola, who was already weak and pale. By the time they reached the hospital, both women were almost unconscious from pain. The nurses rushed to wheel them inside, their beds rolling side by side. Hours blurred into the smell of antiseptic and the shrill beeping of monitors. At last, 2 newborn girls greeted the world with soft cries. But as Yemisi was cleaned and tucked into her ward, Madam Tola slipped under, her paws fluttering like a dying moth. "Doctor! She's crashing! Get the adrenaline!" The nurses moved quickly in all directions, some to save the madam, others to tend to the infant. Each baby was tagged carefully. Adekunle female, 1:43 a.m. Duro female, 1:46 a.m. 2 small wrists, 2 destinies. In the regular ward Yemisi and the babies were moved to, Duro sat in the dim light of the ward, watching Yemisi sleep. On the trolley beside her, his baby's eyelids fluttered. Just inches away in another trolley lay the boss's daughter, swaddled in a blanket embroidered with golden thread. For a moment, he was just a man, exhausted, afraid, relieved. But then came the thought, is this not an opportunity presenting itself to me? He tried to shake it away, but it crept back. Why should my child suffer as I have? Why should I bow forever while lesser men stand above me? His hands trembled as he looked around the room. No nurses, no witnesses, just him and the sleeping babies. Minutes passed, minutes that would define the rest of his life. At last, with the rain still lashing at the windows, Duro stood slowly, carefully. He lifted his child and placed her where the Adekunle baby lay. He moved the second child to his own trolley. Then, with a care that betrayed his shaking soul, he swabbed the tiny wristbands. "It is done," he told himself. "My child will grow up never knowing poverty." As he sat down, heart hammering, he didn't see the tear that slipped down his cheek, nor did he hear the nurse returning to the ward. Madam Tola survived, she said. Hours later, she woke up, her memory of the night blurry. They brought her the baby they said was hers, who suckled her breast with innocent trust. And so, the swap was sealed. Years passed. The girl raised by the Adekunle family was named Zara. Zara grew into wealth, violin lessons, French tutors, horse riding. Her parents doted on her, yet her heart was restless, always grasping for more. Gifts delighted her briefly, but she never learned to be content. The Adekunles tried their best, correcting her harsh words and selfish tantrums. Over time, she softened, but a hunger for more always lingered. But the girl raised by Duro's family was called Amara. Amara grew in modesty, though her father sometimes looked at her with eyes he could not explain. Yemisi loved her fiercely. But blood has a voice, even if he tries to silence it. Duro and Yemisi had since welcomed 2 more children, 2 sons. To them, Duro gave the best clothes, the juiciest meat, and the warmest smiles. To Amara, he offered only what duty required. When Yemisi asked her why he hardly bought her things, he would say, "She is a girl, let her mother handle her." But Hamara bore it with quiet grace. The love of her mother filled the spaces Doro could not, even when her half-siblings teased her, calling her charity child. She held her head high, excelling in her studies and chores. One afternoon, when the girls were 15, Madam Tola called Duro, but he didn't answer his phone. Frustrated, she decided to walk over to the bungalow herself. It was Amara who opened the door. "Good afternoon, ma," she said humbly. Madam Tola was struck by the girl's gentleness. She accepted a glass of water and asked Amara about school. The girl spoke with a thoughtful maturity she rarely saw, even among her wealthy friends' children. When she returned to the mansion, she told Amara, "From now on, invite that girl to come play with you. She has a good spirit. You could learn from her." From that day, the two girls became inseparable, though neither of them knew the bond of blood that drew them together. As they grew into young women, Amara's kindness and discipline deepened. Zara's habits slowly improved under her friend's influence. Duro, tormented by his secret, tried to stop Amara from visiting the mansion, but Yemisi defended her. "Let her go. She finds joy there." And Madam Tola often praised Amara. "Zara, you must learn to appreciate what you have. See how grateful Amara is, even for the smallest thing." On a bright morning when the girls were 18, Madam Tola decided to take them riding. As they raced across the field, Zara lost control of her horse. It fled, throwing her hard onto the ground. Screams split the air, blood pooled beneath her head. They rushed her to the hospital. On their way, Tola called her husband and explained things to him. He said he would meet them at the hospital. Amara also called her dad. Duro arrived in a panic, holding his phone. In the waiting area, he watched the Adekunles pacing in dread. A doctor emerged, serious-faced. "She needs immediate transfusion." Immediately, the father stepped forward and the doctor took him in to run a test. A few minutes later, the doctor came out looking troubled. "Before we proceed, we must share something." Chief Adekunle braced himself. The doctor said, "The blood test shows she's not your biological daughter." Madam Tola fainted. With the help of the doctor, she regained consciousness. But Duro, on the other hand, felt the walls tilting. Sweat streamed down his back. His legs failed him and he fell to the floor. Amara knelt beside him, holding his hand. "Daddy, are you alright?" He stared at her, the girl he had wronged, the daughter he had stolen from her birthright. When the doctor announced that without a compatible blood, Zara would die, Doro stood up quickly. "Use mine! Use my blood!" he pleaded in a shaky voice. Chief Adekunle and Madam Tola stared at him in confusion and horror. The doctor nodded urgently. "Come with us." Hours later, when Zara stabilized, the truth flooded the hall like a tide that no one could stop. On his knees, Duro wept uncontrollably. "I only wanted her to have a better life. That's why I swapped the keys after birth. Amara is your biological daughter." Mr. and Mrs. Adekunle were at a loss for words. Amara held her mother's hands, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I am really sorry. I didn't know it would end like this. I was wrong. God forgive me." Zara, pale and shaking, watched from her hospital bed, her spirit cracked by the revelation. When Zara was discharged, the families met in the mansion's grand sitting room. Chief Adekunle, voice heavy with sorrow, spoke. "Duro, you betrayed us in a way that can never be undone. But you also saved our life. We cannot pretend this did not happen. But we will not throw your family out." Madam Tola touched Amara's cheek. "You were always our daughter in spirit. It seems you are my daughter in truth." Zara wept. "I don't know who I am anymore," she whispered. Amara hugged her gently. "You are loved. That's what matters." Both children went back to their biological parents, although they visited each other daily, living a peaceful life. Zara began therapy, determined to heal and to learn gratitude. And Duro spent the rest of his days trying to mend what he had broken. He devoted himself to caring for Amara, finally treating her with the honor she deserved. The moral lesson for this story is that there is no shortcut to success. Duro's decision to switch the babies was driven by envy and the illusion that changing labels could change destiny. But true success cannot be stolen. It is built on honesty, diligence, and contentment. In the end, the swap caused pain to everyone, including the child he tried to help. The story also shows the power of great values. Amara, although raised in poverty, grew into a young woman of compassion, discipline, and gratitude. But on the other hand, Zara, who was surrounded by wealth, often wrestled with selfishness and discontent. Their lives reveal a profound truth. Who we become is not determined by material circumstances alone, but by the values and virtues that flow through our blood. This story also reminds us that blood is thicker than water, and the seeds of character we plant in ourselves today will blossom in the generations to come. No matter how life treats you, hold fast to integrity and love, for in the end, it is not only your destiny you shape, but also the heart of your children. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more soulful tales.